What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock and why we got the sell off we saw in the EV sector. I'm going to break down what's happening to the market thus far as we have very important data for tomorrow and how all of this could affect NIO stock. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. Putting in $25,000 or more guarantees you 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. The software ends in just about 6 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at NIO is currently down 5.34%. We saw a big drop in the share price, and this is because of the Chinese insurance registrations, not to mention some negative news that came out from analysts. And we ended up seeing the EV sector as a whole kind of like underperform compared to the markets despite a decent CPI. So what happened with CPI? Everything was aligned with expectations. Core was at 4%, which is what the forecast and consensus happened to be. And then as far as CPI goes year over year, we also saw everything aligned with expectations at that 3.1%. So far it was quite decent, but now the question is how will things go moving forward? I just want to mention that we have the FOMC meeting and the market's expecting the Fed to skip/pause on the rate hikes. Now, when it comes to other pieces of data, I just want to mention that for Wednesday, we have the FOMC meeting basically taking place. We have PPI basically coming out an hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have core PPI, and this is going to be very, very important. And then on top of that, we have the FOMC meeting at 2 o'clock p.m. That's going to be very, very important. Not the FOMC meeting. Sorry, guys. We have the interest rate hike decision at 2 and the FOMC meeting, the press conference at 2:30 p.m. So we'll be watching for that. Jerome Powell is going to be giving a speech. As far as NIO goes, NIO is trying to kind of lower its cost with a new type of battery pack, the LFP battery, which stands for lithium iron phosphate batteries. That's going to be very helpful for them if they end up like developing that. And then we're seeing some bad news that came out as Barclays is saying that NIO is in a very difficult situation when it comes to their margins and weak demand. And then on top of that, their insurance registrations were down about 21% relative to the previous week. So this is not the best of signs for December. Generally, you want December to be very strong for them. And so far, we're seeing demand continuing to siphon. Now, as time goes on, NIO is announced that they're opening their 7th and 8th power swap stations in Sweden, which is good news for them. The volume for the charts was at 58 million, well above average, despite the fact that it's selling off at high volume, which has made it very, very weak after these weak looking numbers. And then Wednesdays have a tendency to be in green, but it's going to depend more on Jerome Powell. So, Jerome Powell, I don't think what he says is going to matter much because in a way, he just says the same speech every time. I think he's just going to say the same things, but the market's going to have a reaction to it. I think that that's going to lead to a possible like drop and pump. I think what's going to happen is this. This is my prediction. SPY might push up higher towards like 465. We actually have this channel up here. Could even push up higher than that and make our way closer to like 466. 465 to 466, then a rejection. When Powell gives his speech, we could see the 200 EMA being retested. Could actually retrace just a little bit, come back up, and I think that that's what's likely going to happen. So like a pop when we open, Powell gives his speech, he might cause a little sell-off, and then we might just pop to recover the next day. That is most likely what's going to happen. Tesla might try to retest 238 and reject, come back down to 236 to 234, and then bounce after that. For Aapl, I'm seeing something very similar. Aapl has a gap to fill around 195.7. It could push another point, then come back down, retest 193.6, and then bounce. A little pop, drop, and pop seems very probable. And then for the QQQ, we basically have 400. 400 could be tested, then a big rejection back down to 396.79, then a bounce. That is very probable. For NVIDIA right here is going to likely do something very similar. Now, I just want to mention that NVIDIA has this resistance right over here where it currently happens to be. Got a little bounce. I was talking about this yesterday, And we're going to be watching to see if we could break this high. If we break it, we could be on our way for 480. If we fail to do it, we'll just have to see. We could push a little bit more towards like 480 to 482 and then reject. Wouldn't be surprised if we do that during Jerome Powell's speech, then we just bounce again after. That is one possibility. Anyways, that's it for the main five. Let's talk about NIO. NIO got a big sell off, looking very weak now after some bad Chinese looking numbers, not to mention other factors like that. We do have a tendency of basing at $7. So we're going to be looking to see if this thing could rebound. My gut tells me it's going to try to come down a little bit more, retest 7.11 or so, then rebound towards 7.5. So I see a rebound coming, a backtest of the 50 EMA, and I think that a little drop and then pump is what's very probable for NIO. On the daily time frame, I just want to mention that on the daily, we're looking kind of weak. We're losing some momentum, so we could drop towards the lower sevens, then try to bounce. But as of right now, not looking the strongest. After the bad news that came out, we could see a continuation to the selling. So I could see it drop a little bit more, retest 7.1, then bounce and make its way back up to 7.5, either by the end of the day, if not by Thursday. So that's what I'm seeing for NIO, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. I just want to make it as short as possible just to like help you guys out. Anyways, I just want to mention a few more things about NIO. So unfortunately for NIO, we keep getting hit with bad news after bad news after bad news. And this is a difficult time for a lot of EVs as we're seeing some weak numbers every so often, lots of bad news from different analysts. Now, NIO likes to bounce at $7. I think that there's a good chance it's going to try to like base around here and eventually bounce later on. So we're going to be watching that $7 area to see how it tries to hold up. And I think that there will be a bounce for 2024. I still hold that view. I think NIO is going to make a very, very big move to the upside. But right now, it isn't necessarily ready to bounce. We're just trying to like base. I'll be watching for the rest as time goes on. With that being said, like I said before, thank you all so much for listening. Do not forget that tomorrow we have the FOMC meeting. In the morning before market open, we have PPI data an hour before market open. That could cause some volatility. We want this to be low because this tends to be a leading indicator for CPI. And then we have the FOMC meeting and all that starting. So first we have the rate hike decision at 2 p.m. Then at 2:30 we have the press conference for the FOMC. That's going to be very important. We'll see what happens with the Fed's economic projections. We'll see how this affects the markets and if the Fed signals about any rate cuts or anything like that. And with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. NIO to the moon, because for the short term, yes, there's some pain coming. We're getting lots of bad news when it comes to their sales. New pieces of news. I understand there's pain, but for the long term, I still think that the company's future is bright, and I still believe in its potential. All right. So with that being said, let's see NIO cut more costs. Let's see NIO improve. Let's see a nice comeback for 2024. Thank you and peace out.